Excellent. Good morning, everybody. I'm actually surprised there's more of you than I thought for 8:30 on day 3 of Ignite, but I appreciate everybody braving this, and welcome to everybody online as well. So this morning, we're here to talk about some of these strategies for enterprise fast-track AI adoption. One of the big things we've seen is this new AI that came out in really, I always say November 2022 when ChatGPT dropped, and the world seems to have gone crazy since then. It's now sort of calming down a bit, and we're seeing some real-world implementations actually happening within the enterprise. We're moving beyond POCs and into production. So what I thought for this morning, I've invited 3 of our great Microsoft for Startups companies who have been working in this sector for a number of years and have had a lot of success. They've been around for longer than, let's say, before November 2022. And so they've been working with companies and enterprises to really understand how you get stuff implemented and some of the challenges that have come from that. And hopefully this morning they'll share some of their experiences to help everybody walk away with some tips and tricks and really understand that not everybody's on their own. It is something that everybody's going through, and there are some challenges, but there are ways around them as well. So with no further ado, I'd like to start introducing the panel. So Shlomi, You can go first. Who are you? And tell us a bit about your company as well.
Great, thank you. So my name is Shlomi. I'm the Chief Product Officer at Dataloop. If you talk about being around for more than beyond 2022, Dataloop was formed in 2017, and we've helped thousands of customers deliver thousands of AI initiatives into production. At Dataloop, we help the enterprise ship AI projects into production faster than anywhere else. We build a platform that encourages collaboration within the organization. We simplify the AI and Gen AI development, again, taking projects to production faster. We support the shift left motion, so every developer in the enterprise can successfully and easily build AI projects. And we put a lot of focus on data quality. So with higher data quality, again, AI projects are successful right from the start. So that's what we have been doing, and we keep up with the market, this fast-paced market, as much as we can.
Excellent, excellent. Well, especially for the last part, because it moves fast. Surojit.
I am Surojit Chatterjee, founder, CEO of Ema Enterprise Mission Assistant. We started this company last year and started working on it around 2 years back. And what we build is what we call a universal AI employee, which basically is a mesh of agents that can be programmed using natural language and that can be created using natural language. And that can take any role in the organization, whether it's customer support, sales and marketing automation, HR automation. We have our AI employees deployed in many large enterprises today. And excited to be here and talk a little bit more about what we are doing.
Fantastic, thank you. Now, first of all, Gil, is it real you, or is it your digital avatar? Well, explain to everybody why. I've just tried to crack a joke.
No, it's a real me. So Gil, one of the co-founders of DID. And at DID, what we do is we create digital humans. We are the leading platform for the creation of digital humans for real-time conversations. Okay, so we are the fastest out there, which makes us the interface for large language models, the face for a Copilot. We're also the most secure and responsible player out there. We have a big vision, which is to replace GUI, graphical user interface, with NUI, natural user interface, the way you interact with intelligence. And we focus on large enterprises. Some of the clients are companies like AXA, Fidelity, PepsiCo, and such. The main use cases are to create hyper-personalized, multi-language videos mainly for marketing and education. but also companies who are creating agents and want to make them visual, and companies who want to translate content, video content, including the lip sync, the dubbing.
Fantastic. So, Surojit, to start with you, every enterprise is now talking about adopting AI. It's now literally become a board mandate. Everybody knows about it, but it's a little bit more complex than that. What are some of the obstacles that you've seen in your experience that enterprises have to overcome?
Yeah, I would put them in kind of two categories. One is overestimation or over-expectation, and other is underestimation. And the first category is sometimes there is this sense that, oh, I just send something to ChatGPT, it will just work 100% accurately. Turns out that's not the case, right? And people are understanding now that these are different type of software. It requires kind of processing your data. All the public models, they're getting better and better, but they have never seen private data. They have never seen enterprise data. So they have seen probably only 1% of humanity's data, because 99% is captive in enterprises. Mm-hmm. Right? So they will hallucinate. So you need to do all kinds of stuff to make sure that they're not hallucinating or it's minimized. And you also need subject matter experts to work with your product and train it. So that's the first thing, like kind of expectation mismatch. Second is I see sometimes very senior leaders will be like, oh, I'll put one engineer, one afternoon, we can just build it. Because it's very easy to build a demo, right? But very, very hard to build a real product. And sometimes there is this underestimation of like, oh, we can just do it. And so we see lots of POCs and they're misfiring because they didn't really put the right talent, right data set, and thought through and planned. So those are the two big issues. I think a third issue is just overall fear, right? Oh, my data, corporate data, most sensitive data may leak out to public domain. What happens when we have hundreds of agents kind of touching all parts of my corporation? How do I govern them? How do I manage them? And that's also a huge barrier for adoption, because the CISOs in a lot of our conversations, once we get through the ICP, the buyer, influence everyone, then the security, the CISO's office will come hot and heavy and say, oh, tell us everything about how you are handling data and so forth. Fortunately, we have done a lot of work there. But, yeah.
So, I love, especially the first one. The level of expectation setting, I think, is absolutely critical. Just because it works when you tap in a few questions about what's the capital of some place in ChatGPT and you get a response, it doesn't quite work like that in the enterprise on their data. So I think that's great. Shlomi, what about you?
Yeah, actually, my number one challenge that we identify in the enterprise actually resonates with his second point. It's easy to start with a POC and see some initial value, but once you want to take it forward, you need to build a tool chain around it. And we see the enterprises struggle with that and then go into homegrown solutions. We've had some enterprises coming to us after spending up to $20 million on their own homegrown solutions, and stopping at the point, realizing they can't scale, they can't be dynamic and flexible enough with market changes, and their total cost is skyrocketing. And that's where when they come to us as a centralized platform for developing AI and Gen AI in the organization, covering all aspects, having a centralized solution that caters all the ML teams. Also, maybe that's what I would say the second problem in the enterprise, lack of collaboration. You have especially in the big enterprises, you have all these ML teams not necessarily knowing about each other, and we often see teams in the same enterprise basically developing the same without knowing about it, not being able to share models, artifacts, curated data sets, simply don't have the tools for that. Or if they want this, again, homegrown, and they start going into that as well. So these are probably the two main issues that we see, alongside data quality, which is always an issue, especially in the enterprise. Lots of data with these projects. setting the bar, the threshold for what is quality of data, how much you want to spend on data quality, how you incorporate human feedback into those processes. It's always a challenge, especially with homegrown solution. And that's where Dataloop comes in with a solution for that.
I think what you're saying, especially on that, the ML teams, I mean, to be honest, these ML teams used to be hidden somewhere in the organization. They were never sort of up front. They weren't the cool kids. Now that's completely changed. It's like, and they've all sprung up. They're not part of the processes that have been established within the organization for many years and things. And so I think that point is absolutely critical. It's getting used and bringing these people into the mainstream, bringing them into the existing processes, and then, as you say, sharing that data, sharing their knowledge, because I can imagine most of the people will work in a global organization. There may be something going on in India. There may be something going on in the US, in Asia somewhere as well. How do you share that knowledge so you just haven't got lots of micro projects and bringing the benefits to it as well? So, great point. Gil, what about you?
So I think like in every big change, then there is a gap between the hype of what's feasible and eventually what is really viable. And specifically here, in this case, there is also big, there is lack of understanding, especially when it comes to statistical models, generative models, etc. And this brings several challenges. One is accuracy. So these models are not always accurate, or not as accurate as people expect them to be, which can cause damage to companies. And the second is ROI. People think they will get something and they don't, or they're not clear what to do in order to get it. Lack of expertise, and I'd say also, I think it relates to the last point that Shlomi said, but to connect these new products and the models into internal processes of the company is a big hurdle. And the last is fear. Fear of anything, privacy, security, legal. In our case, because it's very visual and it looks like a human, then there is another fear, even if it's just a visual behind the LLM. But yeah.
Yeah, I think that's great. And I think you touched on a very interesting point, is the skilling within an organization, the understanding and skilling and getting the teams up to speed on that. This is new. This is new, otherwise it wouldn't have been so transformative. And so that is another key aspect that we need to think about around that. So just sort of building on that, all three of you have managed to abstract a level of the complexity. I'd love it if you just spend a few minutes each just explaining what's under the hood and what have you done to sort of hide what's under the hood. Because I think a lot of successful business sort of implementations, you do that, you make it easier for people to adopt because of all these factors, the fear, the skilling, the fact you haven't got people in the organization within the processes. So Shlomi, please tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Well, I hope we have enough time. I can talk about the product for hours now. Chief product or not chief product. I'll start with collaboration, actually. And we brought a very simple solution, when you think about it, to enterprises to encourage collaboration between the ML teams. That's the organizational marketplace. So we offer them, as part of the Dataloop platform, a marketplace where they can install models, they can get data sets we provide them with, but they can use it as the organizational marketplace. So one team can publish a fine-tuned model, a GenAI model, a curated data set, and others can download it from this marketplace to use it with their own project. And they can also share ideas through various communication options we give them. And that we see how that increases and accelerates the AI projects within the organization, because people now know where to look for something that they need, instead of just not even knowing if it exists in the organization. So that's one aspect of what we give them. I would mention just one more, and to not go into a full hour of demonstration of Dataloop, is eventually it's a development lifecycle, and it's a process, and therefore we facilitate everything in Dataloop as a process. We built a very special pipeline tool that can visualize any process, and it's kind of the only pipeline tool in the world that can have in just one workflow data of any kind, structured and unstructured data alike. Unstructured data is very challenging, of course. Models, humans, for human feedback, humans in the loop, and any AI application, agent tooling, and any other code, custom code that the developers have. So all of that in one pipeline tool that can facilitate any workflow, RAG-based chatbots, AI agents, any AI, Gen AI application.
That's fantastic. I mean, I saw the marketplace yesterday when you showed me. I thought that was just such a great way to share information and knowledge around AI. So sort of touching on what Gil was saying about how do you up-level everybody across the organization. But as well, what you pointed about was how do I, it's not just building the first model, it's how do I constantly look to improve it, the human in the loop.
Yeah.
And I think that touches on what we've talked a little bit about, the fear as well. You're bringing the human in the loop when something is moving through the process. So it's not just building, it's operating it and improving it going forward as well. So I think that you've done a great job there. Surojit, what have you done?
Yeah. So as I said, our company, is Enterprise Mission Assistant, EMA. We are building universal AI employees. These AI employees are basically measures of agents that are orchestrated using our own model. So we've built a lot of small models. So from a conversation, you can create a new workflow. Or a new AI employee is basically a workflow that can automate any business process you may have. We have built the system in a way that a business user can use it. You don't need to be a PhD, computer science, you don't need to know about prompt engineering, natural language instructions, and it already has learned from working with many customers and a lot of other training how to generate these workflows. Once you have the workflow, you can tweak it, customize it, and then our orchestrator, what we call generative workflow engine, will automatically then deploy agents to perform that workflow. So we have built a library of agents, 100+ agents that can do all kinds of stuff, from searching enterprise data, extracting rules, generating documents, long-form documents, all kinds of stuff. And then the third thing is, we saw that a lot of customers are really worried about which model to choose from. Or should I use GPT-4? Should I use Gemini or Anthropic? Because there is a kind of a model war going on.
Sure.
Right? The models are all getting better, and they're competing with each other. Now, if you kind of tie yourself with one model, in 1 month or 2 months, you may see, oh, I should move the entire stack to another model. So we have abstracted that out completely for the customer. We have created a small model called Ema Fusion that actually combines, it's a mixture of experts model, combines 100+ models, everything, all public models, many small models that we have created, domain-specific model, and so on. The whole idea is for a business user, from start to end kind of deployment, it should be just very few steps, just a few hours of kind of configuring, and off you go to automate some of the most complex business processes. That's the vision we have been working on.
I think what you've done is it's fascinating. You've tied in this sort of modern way of doing things into a paradigm that we all know, which is business workflows.
Right.
And so you're just sort of, at each node of the business workflow, you've got an agent working, which I think will help with that transition across from sort of from the past to the future, let's say, or the past to now. It's not even the future. So, Gil.
Okay, so first we try to, I think we enabled our clients to use a solution in the most simple way possible. You really just drag and drop. You don't need to understand anything. Just you upload the content for the RAG, you choose a digital human, and everything is created for you, including the LLM, the grounding, the voice. You even get a website, and you can just speak with a digital human if you want it simple. For those who want to take it to the next level and the developers which just want one specific part of our product, then, and they want to build something bigger, then we are API first. So there are almost 300,000 developers using our platform and building, and we made it very, very easy to use. And then we focus on large B2C companies, so we are B2B2C. So those who get it to scale to more than 1 million calls a day, then we help them to deploy the models on-prem, the product on-prem. So this can make their lives easier to scale, more cost effectively. Now, second thing is the ROI. So we thought about it a lot. So we are in a market that is now growing very, very fast. Apparently expected to reach $1 trillion in 10 years. It's like on 25 billion now. So there are tons of use cases. Anything, digital human for anything, interface to LLM. So we chose to focus on marketing, where the ROI is super, super clear and easy to explain to the company and to the company internally to see the results. We have a full marketing suite where you use our products, you immediately see the result. If it's the translation, which we did on Tom, I could have showed it.
It's pretty impressive. I was speaking Hindi.
So you can speak in all languages, all your enterprise content. You can make endless SDRs, Ema agents with the visuals. You can have influencers, email campaigns, everything. So we made it that it will be easy to see the ROI. Third is we've built because of the fears and the concern, and also it's important, we are in a risky place with deep fakes, etc. We've built the DAD Guardrails Integrity Suite, basically the most secure avatar solution in the world, which is basically we want to take the whole industry into the right direction. So we are thinking ahead in a near future that all of us, all of you, will have a digital representation. And then it's not just to protect from deep fakes, but it's actually to protect your deep fake, to make sure no one steals it. So these are some of the things that we did.
Oh, fascinating. I think, again, making it easy to understand, seeing the ROI, and building that into the product, I think is fantastic. So we talked about sort of what you do, but really I think the key in all of this is around the implementation. And how does it go? We touched on it earlier. We said it's not just doing a demo and then you flick a switch and it all just magically happens. There is actually some real life things that have to go on. So Shlomi, can you tell us a little bit about what does that mean? What does an implementation plan look like? Because ultimately you've got to go from sort of the demo to production, and what are all those steps, and how do you bring people along for the ride as well?
So the key word is not demo, it's proof of value, POV.
Okay.
So you need to show the enterprise the value in what you offer. If you manage to succeed in that, and the faster the better, of course, the road is open from there. And then, of course, it's on us to have the full flexibility and enable gradual implementation of the platform within the organization, within the enterprise. So starting with a very fast POV, you don't have a lot of the customer's attention, time, resources. You have to be able to prove that value very fast, and from that go through usually a beta or a trial on a paid trial, usually on the open platform, our SaaS platform, and grow from there to either private tenant, private cloud, and in some industries, even air-gapped on-prem solutions. So we have to have all that range of deployments, which is a challenge. It's a lot of resources to maintain all of that. But in order to sell to the enterprise, any type of enterprise, that's part of the job.
Yeah, I see. So you're saying that the flexibility in deployments is absolutely key when you're looking at these implementations?
Yeah, within the organization itself, within the enterprise, it takes time to get you to full implementation. Okay. And in order for them to see from small value at the beginning through baby steps all over the place and throughout the journey, through teams that maybe use less critical data and can start working with your platform before others, more critical solutions go in, and all the way until full implementation within the organization.
Fantastic. Okay. Surojit, I'd love to find out more from your experience on scoping out projects and actually working with the team. So they've seen your proof of value or a demo at the start, and they want to go ahead. What happens next? How do you sort of convert that?
Yeah. By the way, our motion is very, very similar to what Shlomi just said. The flexibility in deployment options is absolutely critical. In terms of scoping down the project, it's as you may imagine, there is scope creep. There is expectation that's out of whack. So you have to write it down, make sure the customer really understands. One of the big things that we do upfront is aligning with the customer on success criteria. Because what does success mean? Sometimes we are generating, and we have projects, we have customers, one of the top professional services companies using us to automatically generate responses to RFPs. These are 300, 400-page documents. So how do you know it's good or bad?
Yeah.
Who tests it, right? So establishing that success criteria is extremely important, the evaluation criteria, and for every AI employee, it may be slightly different. It's not the same. I'll tell you one quick story here. We do a lot of contact center automation, customer service. We've set the success criteria. We are sending out data to the subject matter expert, head of support, and he has a couple of people who are really experts in their support, and they're looking at it every week. They're like, yeah, it's getting better, but not quite there yet. On like fourth week or something, I send something again, and they're like, oh, it's actually much worse than what you sent for the last 3 weeks. Like, yeah, this time I sent you your own agents, responses and actions, and that was an aha moment.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, AI is already working better than humans. Why should we not deploy? Because originally they were in the mindset, oh, it has to be perfect. Perfect in the sense of the 1 or 2.
AI has to be 100%.
100%.
It's like self-driving cars.
Exactly.
It has to
And
work every single time.
I think self-driving car is a great analogy, right? You know, is it 100% accurate? No, but it's as good or better than humans today, so it's perfectly safe.
Yeah.
I think establishing that upfront has been very critical for us.
Right. I think that's great. I mean, it's general project management at the end of the day there. We've been doing it for years. So what you're saying is we don't need to throw away the playbook that we've been using for years. It's the same thing, and it's setting those expectations.
Yeah. One other thing I'll add is these models, it's not like a static software that once you deploy, it's always the same. They change. Things change. Underlying models are changing. So you have to, that's why the employee analogy is great. Like, you know, you hire a great employee. They may perform very well 6 months, but then they may not perform well. You have to give them feedback again.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of train the customer, okay, you have to kind of occasionally or periodically keep giving feedback, human feedback to the system so it continues to improve or stays at par. Because the things underneath are changing all the time. The models are changing and responding in slightly different ways and so forth.
So building in continuous improvement into the process is not one and done.
Yeah.
Great point. Gil.
So I'll give two concrete examples, interesting, I think, examples. One is one of the largest insurance companies in the world, that the first thing they wanted is immediately to give it to the end users for support, for insurance, which is very sensitive, of course. We eventually what we decided to do with them is to first test it internally on the executives in this organization to get them all comfortable with that, and then to take it out. But then there were still concerns because this is sensitive information to the masses, many, many millions. So, and it was a long time ago, like a year ago. So it was
a long time. 1 year is a long time nowadays.
They wanted to move fast.
Definitely.
And eventually what we decided to do, we took it to the internal L&D organization, to test it internally. Only then we took it externally, but not to the sensitive, not to the to sales and marketing, which is not support. It's not to marketing is videos. It's not sensitive, and only now, after more than a year, we are taking it to the masses. So this is one example on how to take it step by step when it's very sensitive. Another example is one of the largest consumer goods brands out there. So we already learned from that experience. It was not so sensitive, but it's still many dozens or hundreds of millions of consumers. So we first went with them to shows, like here.
Yeah.
When the marketing team showed it, the agent in real life, speaking to the people in the show, got the confidence that it's amazing, it works, and only beginning of next year, they are taking it to the masses. So I think taking it step by step, and first, walk the walk, do it on your employees, and then taking it to the...
I think these are great points. I mean, you don't go out with your, it seems obvious, but you don't go out with your most sensitive data on your most mission-critical project to start with. It's building the confidence within the organization that this works. And I think that's absolutely key around this. It's not necessarily the technology's there, it's the human factor. It's the acceptance within of the technology. So starting with something that can be impactful, but is not going to be mission critical is great internally, and then go further and further and sort of build the rings that you go out to implement on.
It's a big decision. Going into production with AI, there aren't too many use cases out there even for competitors for these enterprises.
Yeah.
Not too many successful use cases that they can lean on in their decision making. So they have to take it step by step until they are fully confident.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we always say it's a massive race to come second. Nobody wants to be first. So you've got to get over that and let some project become first, and then the second and third, and then it will just happen in waves, I think, going forward.
Yes, but one more thing that we see, that massive competition, because once they are aware of the competition, they do want to be first sometimes.
Yeah.
They know that the winner can take a lot, if not all, but a lot.
So what types of customers are you seeing, and what industries are the ones that are adopting this first?
So we're selling to every enterprise that develops ML, and I'm often being asked this question, and my answer is, what enterprise doesn't develop ML nowadays? We have customers from agriculture to car manufacturing to traditional manufacturing and everything in between. And of course, technology firms, even Microsoft in a way, uses Dataloop. And the adoption and the success is especially in the data-intensive projects. So the more projects they put into Dataloop and the more data-intensive these projects are, they tend to be more successful. They tend to see the velocity of the platform, the benefits in full, the more they use it centralized. Again, coming back to what I said earlier, some companies spend up to $20 million on homegrown solutions. So they come from a point of feeling the pain, not being able to ship these AI projects to production the way they want it. And again, reminding that they start to see competition from their left and from the right, even in traditional industries, that suddenly, like ADAS, autonomous driving, everybody read the news and see the progress of their competitors, and they want to be up to par with their competitors, if not coming in first. And that drives the adoption, and that drives them to success.
That's super interesting. So a lot of your solution, obviously in the name, is like data, and so the more data intensive. I think what you also highlighted is the fact that many companies have been sort of playing with this for the last 10, 15 years, the really early adopters, But this is also giving a chance to other companies who haven't been doing that with technologies like yours, all of yours, that are hiding that complexity of actually getting ahead of these early adopters, because you've made it so easy to sort of move ahead with these things that they can get ahead. And that's huge, because that really enables transformation of some of these, let's say, more slow-moving enterprises to get ahead of the more traditional, fast-moving ones. So I think that's going to affect the market a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. We see there are companies like healthcare and fintech who are kind of left behind with RPA because they have a lot of unstructured data, a lot of documents, a lot of handwritten documents sometimes, spreadsheet data, et cetera. They are now adopting generative AI, agentic AI at a faster pace because this is the opportunity for them to automate. So we have a lot of clients in this very regulated sectors where there is a lot of unstructured data. Professional services, another one, they have lots of documents, unstructured data. Insurance, like claims processing, again, unstructured data, right? Which is very interesting because with this technology now, you can think of automating anything that you could not automate before.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's great. I mean, that's great. If we look at so are those the industries that you're seeing the most success in?
Absolutely, because the baseline is lower. They have not automated much.
Yeah.
They kind of skipped the whole RPA thing, so it's actually easier to prove value. The numbers are also very large, and they have a lot of data, like large enterprises.
We see it if we look at some of the most successful AI startups have been in legal tech.
Right.
Why? Legal tech has, I think the last disruption in legal tech was redlining in Word. And so it's like 20 years, nothing's really happened there. And so, as you say, a lot of documentation, a lot of unstructured data. How can we improve on it? Repeatable processes. And so those are definitely areas to look at. Even within an organization, every organization has a legal department. We can definitely, and if you're looking for successful AI projects, that's probably a good place to start. But Gil, I mean, you must be around marketing a lot. What's going on there?
Yes, so for us, it's mainly organizations that we see them the most successful, and what we decided to focus on are those which where customer interaction, the engagement with the end user is critical, and emotional connection between the brand and the end user is very important for the brand. When the marketing is very important for the brand, and when something visual can bring a lot of value. So basically, companies which have dozens or hundreds of millions of users, companies in the retail, finance, and other spaces where there are many clients and marketing is important. Companies which are international and need to translate content. Companies that are getting into anything agentic agents and want to take it to another dimension. Yeah.
Okay. So moving towards the end now, Shlomi, what is the one thing, one piece of advice you would give to the audience about implementing enterprise AI based on your experience and what you've seen?
Wow, just one.
Just one.
Give me 2 minutes to think about it, okay? Yeah, we really have to prioritize it. It depends on where the enterprise is in their AI journey. If they are in the early steps, I would warmly recommend avoiding homegrown solutions and looking to buy, source an enterprise centralized platform for developing AI that will accelerate their work and make them more competitive in the market.
Okay, fantastic.
I will say get started. Sometimes getting started is half the work done. We have a customer, they spent like $5 million with a consultant, one of the top consultants, just understanding how can they use generative AI in automating HR workflows. And after that, and that took 6 months or 9 months to do. Now they're getting into, like the top 3 use cases are probably pretty obvious. You don't need to spend so much money kind of thinking, analyzing. There's like an analysis paralysis in some of the largest enterprises. Oh, what should we do?
Yeah.
I think if you know, every department you look, there is a lot of inefficiency. You can easily find top 1 or 2 or 3 low-hanging fruits. Get started, right? And get started with the right plan. Maybe there's the second thing, not one thing.
That's okay.
You know, what Shlomi was saying, a lot of companies will kind of take it not that seriously, do some internal, put 3 engineers, 5 engineers, and suddenly the cost will grow to tens of millions of dollars total cost of ownership. So you need to hire the right people or the right company, right vendor to get started.
Okay. Gil?
2 advice.
And I'll come back to Shlomi.
Yeah, first is, I think I said it, but walk the walk. So use it internally before taking it to your end users. At DAD, we use our solutions everywhere. I'm stopping to go to investor meetings. So I'm starting to send my better self now.
The digital self.
Yeah, answers better, never tired, doesn't need to repeat himself 100 times. And so this is one. And second, if you don't have the expertise internally, then just use an expert company, system integrator, something like that. I'm talking also from a personal bad experience where we had to build something where we are not expert at. And we try to do it ourselves, and it costs us a lot of time and money. We stick with AI. Yeah, I think these are the 2 things.
Okay.
Do I get my second chance?
Go on now.
I insist.
Feeling generous.
Yeah, right. So whenever you have data, especially data-intensive projects, data quality is key. So just mentioned traditional industries with unstructured data. Even if you think there's no solution, there is a solution out there. You just have to look for one. Don't overlook the problem. Data quality is key to successful AI projects. Humans are still a very important part of the process, human feedback to improving data quality. And through that, you can succeed with your project.
So just to finish off for a lightning round, in 3 years' time, how diffused will this technology be within companies? It's on a level of 1, 2, or 3. 3, it's everywhere in every process. 2, it's in the majority. And 1, we're still here with people looking at POCs. Gil.
It's a tough question, but so I see a world where we replace GUI. So it's not in every company, it's in every place, every screen, every app, every website. This is how you interact with intelligence. You don't need to understand the graphics anymore. You speak face to face with a human. And 2, all of us will have a digital
Are we going to be there? Are we going to be there in 3 years' time?
Yes.
Okay, very optimistic.
Cool.
Surojit.
I think I'll go with like maybe 2 in 3 years' time. We'll see agentic automation, and that's what we do across many, many departments, but not everywhere, not every industry. Some industries will be slow, but I think in 5 to 7 years' time, it'll be seeping through. It'll seep through everything. It's kind of like the internet. There are some laggards. Some companies like didn't just get on the internet when it was obvious what the advantages were. But the pace is accelerating. I think once one company in an industry adopts and talks about it, everybody follows very quickly. So that will start happening in 3 years' time.
Perfect. Shlomi.
So it's enough to look back 3 years to understand and see where we are now, to understand where we're going to be in 3 years from now. Obviously, AI will be everywhere. You can just go to the hub and see what companies are offering and how AI is embedded into our lives already in every business process. And even humans will be still an important part of the process, but everywhere that AI will be everywhere to at least support decision-making for people.
So 2.5 from you.
Yeah, 2.8.
Well, thank you very much, everybody. Have a great rest of your Ignite.
Thank you.
Thank you.